It's a quiet morning out here. The garden's just getting on with itself, the way it always does. I've been sitting in this chair since about 6, watching the light change, thinking about whether to make this video, and then I thought, that's exactly the kind of thinking that cost me everything. So, here we are. I was standing in a CVS on a Thursday afternoon, holding a greeting card. Happy anniversary, 41 years. And I stood there, fluorescent lights, that particular smell of pharmacies, someone's cart rattling past, and I opened it to write something, and nothing came. Not because I'd run out of words, because I realized I didn't know anymore what was true. We had the house. We had the routine. We had the life that looked exactly right from the outside. But standing there with that card, I understood something I've been avoiding for a very long time. We hadn't had a real conversation in years. Not a real one. Not the kind where you say the thing you actually mean and then sit in the silence of having said it. We'd had schedules, logistics, the efficient, comfortable silence of two people who had organized their life together until the life quietly left the room. I put the card back, walked to the car, sat there for a long time. I'm 92 now, and I'm making this out here in my garden on an ordinary morning because I need you to understand something before that moment finds you. I know what your life looks like right now. Not the details, but the texture of it. You wake up already behind. You move through the day managing the work, managing the people, managing the version of yourself that everyone needs you to be. And somewhere around 9 or 10 at night, when it's finally quiet, you sit down and you feel it. That low, persistent feeling you don't quite have a name for. Not unhappy, exactly. Not depressed. Just, is this it? You don't say it out loud. You wouldn't even know who to say it to. So you pick up your phone instead. You watch something. You let the feeling pass. And the next morning, you start again. I did that for 30 years. I called it responsibility. I called it love. I called it what adults do. It wasn't any of those things. It was avoidance dressed up in a very convincing costume. Here's the private thing I want to say to you. The reason you keep waiting, the real reason, not the one you tell people, is that somewhere underneath all the busyness, there's a belief. A belief that you don't quite deserve the life you actually want yet. That you have to earn it first. Finish enough. Prove enough. Get to a certain place before you're allowed to slow down and actually be somewhere. I believed that until I was 71 years old. And then I stood in a pharmacy holding a card I couldn't feel. And I understood that the earning never ends. That there is no finish line where someone finally hands you permission. That I had been waiting my entire life for something that was never going to arrive. My daughter told me once she was 9, maybe 10, "Mom, you're always here, but you're never really here." I told her she'd understand when she was older. She's 64 now. She said it to her own daughter last year. That's what we pass on when we're too busy to stop. Not our values, not our wisdom, or absence. Here's what no one tells you about regret. You think it comes as one large terrible thing, a reckoning, a scene. It doesn't. It comes as a card you don't know how to feel. It comes as the conversation you kept meaning to have, the trip that stayed on the list, the moment you were physically present for but completely somewhere else inside. It builds in the small things so quietly you don't notice until one ordinary Thursday afternoon is just there. And it's been there for a long time. I don't know where you're watching this. Maybe it's late. Maybe you've got one eye on something else. Maybe you're supposed to be sleeping. But if you stay with me this long, I think something in you already knows what I'm talking about. Not as an idea, as a feeling you've been carrying. So, let me ask you one honest question. The person you love most in the world, when did you last really look at them? Not glance, not check in, not manage. Look. If you have to think about it, that's your answer. I'm 92. These hands have held a lot of things. Briefcases, committee reports, a garden fork I probably shouldn't still be lifting, and eventually, later than I should have, much later, the face of the man I had been living beside without seeing. We had 11 more years after that Thursday. Good ones, slow ones, real ones. He's been gone 4 years now. I think about the card sometimes. The one I put back on the shelf. I went back the next day and bought it. Sat at the kitchen table and wrote 4 pages inside it. Front, back, margins, everything. He kept it in his desk drawer until the day he died. That's what was waiting on the other side of that parking lot. I almost didn't go back for it. Share this with someone you love and haven't said enough to lately. Not later, now. While it's in your hands and the feeling is still there, subscribe. I have more of this. I'm 92 and I am not wasting what's left. And leave me a comment. Tell me the person you've been meaning to really see. I read every one out here in this chair with my tea going cold. The garden's waiting. But so are the people who love you. Which one can wait a little longer?